And welcome to the Super Fun Awesome Happy Time pedal show. My name is Gabor.
Hey, welcome. I'm Alex, and we're going to check out some Boss pedals in more depth today.
Yeah, a little bit more in depth, yes.
Yeah.
So we've got the OD-200 and a DD-200, and it almost looks the same if you look at it like that.
Yep.
Yes.
We did have a quick overview earlier on, and oh, there's a dog. And you can see those videos up there in the corner. And we go through a whole bunch of algorithms and get some basic sounds.
Yes.
We're going to check out some more in-depth features with the pedals today. And, before we go on, if you could hit like and subscribe on the video and the channel, hit the notification bell and a comment too if you've already got these, or if you're looking at getting them, and yeah, see what you think.
That would be dandy.
That'd be ace.
Yes, ace dandy.
Ace sponsor.
All right, so we've got the overdrive and the delay today. So maybe first let's quickly look at the overdrive. So there's a couple of extra features that you can do and use. So one of the features is you can have an expression pedal, and you can assign the expression pedal to do just about anything. So we have one of the El Cheapo branded.
Yeah, just a garden variety.
Just a,
expression.
yes.
As you'll find in your garden.
You do?
My garden, you do.
You do?
I
Okay.
just leave my guitar gear around the backyard.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. If you want to steal some stuff, come to Alex's place. Don't.
Don't do that.
So what you can do is what we're going to do is we're going to try a few different things with the expression pedal and maybe look at a couple of sounds a little bit more in depth quickly with that. We also have the delay. We're just going to use it for quick delaynization first, and then we're going to look a little bit more into the delay as well. So here, so what do you want? Let's start off. Let's start off with a distortion sound or overdrive sound. What do you want?
Is there like a, I don't know, like a Tweety crunch thing?
Let's just go an overdrive.
I thought so. Okay.
Let's just start with that. And just set up a sound, and then let's assign an expression pedal to help us out with things. So let's put the EQ sort of in the middle. Just what does that sound like? It's a clean sound?
Oh, we've got new guitars. How fun's this?
I don't, but you do.
Yeah, this is a twin tone from Eastwood Guitars.
Airline Eastwood,
series. Yeah, Airline series. So yeah, very fun. This is it, clean.
What kind of strings would you be playing on there?
I'm checking out the Paradigm from Ernie Ball.
Yes.
And yeah, this is good.
Big thank you to CMC and Ernie Ball here in Australia for sending us some Ernie Ball strings. Okay, let's keep going. So this is the clean sound. Does it sound alright, or do you want to change something?
Louder.
More loud. Happy with that?
Sure.
Okay. So now let's say, for example, we want to shape this a little bit, but on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe add gain, lower gain on the fly. How could we do that? Could we possibly do that with an expression pedal?
One you found in the garden.
I think we can. So what you do is you push both of these buttons in at the same time, and you basically go to it's like an edit mode, and you find EPF, expression function. There's other ways. See, in that edit mode, you can set up the MIDI. You can set up everything basically. You can. It's sort of the global functions of the pedal. Now. So EPF, what we can now do is we click on the parameter knob, and now you can assign what the expression pedal does. So, for example, do you want the drive? Do you want to be able to affect drive?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So right now, if we do this, that should be no drive. But now, all that does at the moment is it goes from all the way, basically as if you turn the drive all the way down to all the way up. But you can set minimum, maximum values. So we've got the EPF, expression function, and then we've got an EP and a little thing, and an EP and a big thing. Little thing means minimum setting. So if we go into this now, what we can do is we can set it on the expression pedal. Where do you want the minimum level? So let's check it out. So how you know, like that.
Turn it on.
Oh, I have to turn it on. But there?
54 is a good number, yeah.
54 is a good number. And then we want the maximum to be 120, which I think is the full. So So now we have assigned the expression pedal to a minimum. Let's turn it off. Well, actually, why don't we go and there you go, noise gate. Give it a little bit of noise gate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've assigned the minimum and maximum value of your drive sound that you like, but we also have a boost. Yeah. So we can add a boost. What boost would you like? So we can, again, any of these things we can add. Do you want to? We can boost it in terms of actually just gain or volume boosted, but we can also boost it as add a distortion to it or any other of the drive sounds.
I reckon a brown boost.
Brown boost. Okay. Alrighty then.
One loves a brown boost in the morning, don't they?
Sure. Hang on. Which one's?
I got a T-shirt that says that. I love a brown boost in the morning.
You do. Hang on. You may not be able to do the brown one as a boost, so you can't do all of them.
Oh.
Ah, okay. So you can do, if you want something gainier, so you can have fuzz or metalcore. Ah, okay. Well, you don't even have that on the. Ah, so the boost, you have actually some that are not part of this. See, we learn new stuff too. So you can have a metalcore, the metal zone, fat distortion, stack drive, X distortion, distortion X drive, centaur overdrive, scream, blues overdrive, treble, clean or mid boost. So which one do you want? Do you want a metalcore, metal zone, fat distortion?
Fat distortion.
Fat?
Yeah, for screaming lead breaks where you jump up on the monitors and
Yes. Okay, so
goes throw the pants at you.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is assigned to the fat boost. Now what we can do is we have a pre and post for that as well. So now if we you know, we're on full gain. Because what we can now also do is, so for example, now we can either have, let's say we don't need the, we don't want the gain for the normal drive on the expression pedal. Let's say we want to get into the expression pedal, and we want, instead of it being the drive, we actually want it to be the post on the boost, as in the volume. So now this actually affects the volume on the. But now we need to assign the minimum and maximum value, don't we? Because we don't want a minimum value to be 0. So we want it to be quite cranked, but we just want to boost it a little bit. So let's see what happens. What happens at 50?
A little bit of booty.
So what we can do is you can have your rhythm sound. You kick in the lead, but then the band gets into it, and you need a little bit more. And now you have assigned it, so you kick in the boost, you get a little bit more gain, or lots more gain. You get volume, but then you bring it forward and bring in even more volume. So there we go. So we're going from the rhythm part. Okay, so that's basically assigning expression to either the boost or assigning it to the to gain, or you can assign it. I mean, if you really wanted to, because I mean, why wouldn't you? Let's hang on, let's do that. Let's assign it to the mids.
Yeah. Might need to set a minimum value to.
Well, you go and you get what you can do. Oh no. Here's what you do. Here's what you do. You bring in the not fat. You bring in the metal zone.
Ooh, make the mids go away.
And then well, for the rhythm, right? For the rhythm, you have to strip mids. Yes.
Yep.
So you can do that. But so you can assign it to any of those things, and you can do whatever you want. But you know,
nailed it. By the way.
Absolutely nailed it. All right, let's have a look now at the DD-200. Now let's actually get rid of this and plug that into here because we're going to use that with that now. So DD-200, a couple of extra functions. Same as with this. If you push both of these, it goes into your setup, where you can assign things like the expression pedal. You can assign whether you want it to be what they call carryover. So if you have two delays set up, if you go, or two presets set up, you go from one preset to the next. Will it cut the tails of one delay, or will it carry over? You can set up things like the loop stuff. You can set up a bunch of other things. But let's just start off with, so let's pick again. Let's maybe not do the metal zone, but I mean, we're on the overdrive here.
Brown.
Let's go brown. You want to go brown? Okay. Let's go to brown here. Let's find a nice sound that we like, a distortion sound, and then add some delay to it and use some expression stuff. We don't need that. Just so we have a bit of a sound going.
Crunch.
Okay. So let's, for example, assign, it's again with this as well, let's assign the expression pedal to something. So let's assign it, what do we want to assign it to? Do we want to assign it to...
Feedback.
Feedback?
That's always a cool one.
Feedback, okay. So now the expression pedal. Yeah, so you can assign it to that. You can assign it again to any parameter, any knob, anything you want to do, you can assign it to.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's assign the memory tap button to do other things. Now I have to say, as much as I like Boss, not necessarily the clearest in the manual how that all works, but let's just, okay.
We've just sat here for 15 minutes trying to
work it out. Okay, so you've got to push both buttons. And just before we were on expression pedal function, yeah. To do this now, we got to go to memory function. Is that what it stands for?
Mind you, memory starts with an N, so that's pretty confusing.
Yeah, memory function. Okay, anyway, so that one. NFC, memory function. You go into this one. So now that tells you what this button does. So at the moment it's set to tap, but we can change it to hold. So hold, for example, means you play something. Hang on, and I've got to turn the feedback up a little bit on here. And so on. So basically, it holds, it freezes what you just played in a delay, and you can play over it without a delay. The other thing you can do is you can go to warp. Now, warp basically does the same thing, but it makes the feedback kind of go all the way up.
Yep.
And then everything you play also will be added to that. So if you if we're doing soundscapey. And so on and so on. Then you have twist. Now, twist is basically, it ramps the feedback and the delay time. So, if you're playing something. And then it goes down again.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. Now, I wonder, can you make it go down as well? So it's slow. You probably can't. No, it's a twist mode, so it's just one way. So it doesn't. You can't make the the dive bomby sound.
Sure.
Okay, so that's the next thing. Then you also have these. What are they called? They're called roll. Okay, so roll half, roll quarter, roll eighth. So basically, what it is, you set something, you play something, and then it changes the subdivisions basically.
Yeah, it kind of doubles and then quarters.
Doubles,
eighths.
yeah. Then you got a quarter. And an eighth. I don't think you can even really hear it. Wow. But I mean, that's, you can assign that to do that.
Yeah.
And then, or you can just go back to tab, which is what I think we're going to leave it. Or maybe let's just for the fun of it, let's go to.
Do you like this twist one?
Twist, yeah. Let's go twisty. Okay, so that's a few extra functions, and you can assign that stuff to external foot switches as well. So you can hook up external foot switches as well. So you can have this set up as your tab, or for example, use an ES8.
Sure.
You can assign one of the buttons on the ES8, for example, to be your tap, like a global tap. So it controls that, and also the MD-200, for example. And then you can use that switch for the twist. So you can one thing that's really good with Bosses and what they've done lately is that most of the buttons, you can reassign what they do.
Yep.
So you can give them different functions. So again, you can even reassign this to do different, the on-off to do different things. So for example, if you use again, ES8 like a loop switcher, and you turn the delay on and off on the loop switcher, you can have these, one is tap and one is the twist function, or one is a twist function and one is the hold function, whichever way you want to do it. So you can reassign it. The only thing is, it is sometimes with Boss a little bit tricky to find out how these things work in the manual. With the ES8, holy moly, I had a lot of headaches with that. But I mean, the functions that they have is amazing. It's just not always fantastically explained.
Yes.
But this is where people like us come into play, hopefully, to show you how these things are done. All right, now, we've kind of picked maybe pick a couple more sounds in here, but let's pick some delay sounds and kind of look at them a little bit more in depth. So what's a delay sound you want to, for example, look into?
That shimmer, something we never really use.
Okay.
I really like the sound, the type of effect. We just never use it.
Okay. So what we can now, for example, do is so we've got the twist function here, which everyone needs. So but now what we can do is we can assign different parameters to this. So for example, and I know you can do it. So what you can actually do, so if we're going back to normal mode, so we're not in edit mode, we're going back to normal mode. You have this parameter knob here, right? Which is different depending on what delay algorithm you use. If you push down the time button and move that, it should tell you. It sometimes does and it sometimes doesn't. I don't quite understand it. Well, it's meant to tell you what it does, but it doesn't. So I'm probably doing something wrong. But what we can do now is we can find out what it does in the shimmer. So I'm going to say it's the shimmer adjust to brilliance. Okay, so what we can do, for example, now is we can assign the expression pedal to be that parameter knob. So let's go into here. Let's go into expression.
Yeah.
And if we don't want the feedback, we want parameter. So now this should control with that sound. If you're just playing quick staccato notes, it doesn't get to the shimmer bit. You actually need to let it run.
It does develop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
True.
So this is all the way down. Seems to kind of add an extra higher octave type thing to it. So for example, let's do that. We've got twist, we've got this. Now, what kind of drive would you like with a shimmer sound? And let's turn the feedback up a little bit, and level up a little bit, and maybe modulation up a smidge.
Try a centaur. Something with a bit of...
Centaur?
Yeah, a little bit of clarity, but not... There's still some gain there.
Okay. THX.
That's fantastic.
That's great. That sounded really cool, actually. Wow. So, I mean, it's two pedals, quite a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing we didn't try last time, does a boost work on its own? So you have to have the overdrive engaged. I don't know if we tried that last time or not. Okay, so that was a shimmer. What's it? One more, and then I'll try 2 as well, maybe, and then
Lo-fi. Oh, pattern.
Pattern. Okay, let's have a play with the pattern. So with the pattern now, well, now we don't want the parameter because they'll change the different patterns.
That could be cool.
So okay, well, have a look. That changes the pattern, so that kind of makes it interesting.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. I love the twisting. That's fantastic.
You want to have a play?
Sure. Well, I want to have a look at the. I wanted to have a look at the pad echo, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to, for the expression, I would like to have the modulation.
Sure.
I reckon it would be pretty cool to be able to blend. You know, if you want to get crazy. The only downside to the twisting is we turned the tap off. It's a horror movie.
It's total soundtrack kind of stuff.
That's super soundtracky kind of stuff.
Very cool.
Which one else? Let's have a look, just because I really like it, the Terra Echo. And let's assign, again, I would say parameter 1 is the one that you want to, that one is the one that you want to assign to it, because that gives you makes it more pronounced. that thought, hold that thought, hold that thought, hold that thought. There was a B, there was a B, there was a B, there was a B, there was a B. Not the one that buzzes. Noisy because of the B90s, but I could do this for hours. Let's do this for hours.
Oh my god.
No, that's great. I mean, in all honesty, the amount of different sounds you can get out of just those two pedals is insane. And I mean, then you add a baritone guitar into the mix, and you know, you're adding a whole different flavour of things as well. But I have to say, I was particularly impressed. I am particularly impressed with the DD-200. I think that's a killer pedal.
Yeah, once you kind of get your head around the menu system.
Yeah, well, menu system, but it's a bit of a not to get into that whole thing, but even if you look at like Roland. I've got a couple of older sort of Roland synths and stuff. Like the menus, sub-menus, and all that sort of stuff. It's a little bit confusing, and that's the one downside I can find is that it may be a little bit difficult to sometimes get into all this stuff. But that's why there's people like us on YouTube to do this sort of stuff, to show this to people, so it helps them with manuals. Because I remember, man, the ES8, all the MIDI side of it, the functions of it, there's very little about it in a manual. Maybe there's a revised manual now, but back in the days, I was watching Henning's videos to work out how to use it and then use it myself. And I mean, it's amazing what you can do with those things, but to get to that point. So that was sort of I don't know if it was really a lot more in depth. It was just looking at a few more things. Now, with that global editing, with that editing menu, you can assign MIDI commands, you can change what the buttons do, like I said, you can assign external expression. So basically, you can reconfigure it kind of the way you want it to be. It may take you a little bit of time. It's a bit of a learning curve to get into it, but you can completely reconfigure the pedals to the way you want them to be. And I think especially once you add something like an external switcher, like an ES8, ES5, even things like the MS3, which can add stuff to it in the loops and stuff. You add an enormous amount of functionality where you can reassign those two knobs to do things you want them to do. And with the switcher, you turn it on and off anyway. You may have global tempo with loop switches, so you don't need an on and off switch, and you don't need a global switch, and you don't need memory because you do all that via MIDI. So you can turn those two into any of those kind of twist and warp knobs and whatever you want them to do. Same with OD-200, you can reassign it to add things and change things, and there's lots of stuff you can do with it.
Yeah, the whole series has been really good. Like, you can do crazy routing and different commands through MIDI and all that kind of stuff, as well as it can just be a simple overdrive, simple delay, modulation pedal. So pretty impressed with the whole series. Sometimes these kind of super multifunctional pedals get too complicated too quick, but there's I think they've found a good balance with the functionality.
But I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go into it. If you want a distortion pedal, and if you want an overdrive pedal, or if you want a delay pedal, or if you want a modulation pedal, and you want 4 presets, that's very easily done, very quickly done. It's once you want to go a little bit deeper, you can go much deeper though. There's a bit of a learning curve though. So all up, I have to say, the 200 series, highly impressed. Great size. Just throwing it out there, boss. I would love to see an RV200, the reverb. I would love to see, with 4 presets, an RE200.
Yeah, sure.
The Space Echo. I still also think the RE20 that it did, one of the most underrated delay pedals out there. I think it's excellent. But imagine that in the size of this with 4 presets.
Bloody cool.
Boss, just throwing it out there. Yeah. So and the reverb as well. I think especially reverb that size, that's something I've guaranteed I would buy. With all the cool different parameters and all that stuff on it. So just throwing it out there. And even the...
What are you doing?
Slicer. Like a full slicer in that.
Well, you could just save 4 presets of different versions of the slicer, or the RE20.
But I think you with the modulation, you are slightly limited to what you could do in comparison to the actual slicer. Sure. So, but just throwing it out there, because the size is fantastic. I think compared to that,
it's comfortable.
Contortionist. Anyway, stop talking now, Gabor. Cool. Thank you very much. So, a big thank you once again to Ed and everyone at Boss Roland Australia. And while people are surfing the webs,
Insta Google. Hey, we've got
what should they do?
Not that. Hey, we've got links below.
Links below.
To Instagram and our Facebook accounts, as well as a podcast, and we chat about all this kind of stuff and get guests on and just hang out. And so stuff. The links below. And once again, if you could hit like and subscribe on the video and the channel, hit thumbs up and a notification bell is always appreciated. Help us do our thing.
Yes.
So
So that's it.
Comments below what you think, if you've already got these already, how they're going, and we'll see you next time. Catch ya.
Bye.